Don't get me wrong.
I'm an American, and I love being an American. I cherish the freedoms and the history of this great nation. But lately when I listen to the national conversation, when I hear my fellow Americans casually condemn China as an authoritarian state, a place where people have no freedom, a place to be pitied, I can't help but feel a deep, uncomfortable twinge of hypocrisy. A condescending tone, a superiority complex built on outdated assumptions. We are quick to point fingers across the Pacific, to cast the first stone at a nation we rarely understand beyond the headlines. But what if the mirror we re-holding up to China simply reflects back a broken image of ourselves? What if, in our rush to declare our moral and political supremacy, we've missed the profound rot setting in right here at home? We speak of freedom, yet a pervasive sense of powerlessness grips the average American. We boast of democracy, yet we see our collective will systematically ignored in favor of elite interests. We condemn their economy, yet our infrastructure crumbles while theirs soars. This isn't about promoting one system over the other. It's about a hard, honest look at where we stand today. It's time to ask, are we truly having it better than the average Chinese person? As they see their lives improve year after year with monumental projects completed and poverty reduced, we find ourselves falling back, watching our promised American dream recede into the rearview mirror. This video isn't about China. It's about the China within American life. The authoritarian structures, the economic despair, and the loss of power that now define much of our modern American experience. It's time to drop the moral high ground and face the reality of our current situation. Chapter 1. The Illusion of Democracy. The bedrock of American self-esteem rests on the idea of democracy. We often condescend on the Chinese people, saying they have no say, no vote. But I ask you, do we truly live in a democracy? We get to go out to the ballot box. Sure. We pull a lever, ink our finger, and fulfill our civic duty, but what happens after? All too often, we find that our voice, the vote of the average person, simply doesn't matter. The hard truth is that we are not living in a true democracy. We are operating within a plutocracy. Our political landscape, our legislation, and our national priorities are not shaped by the majority's will, but by the will of a small, hyper-wealthy minority, the billionaire class. Think about it. Massive campaign donations, high-powered lobbyists, and the revolving door between corporate boardrooms and government offices. These forces consistently trump the interests of the American majority. We see this played out time and again, whether it's tax policy that benefits the very rich or environmental regulations gutted in favor of corporate profits. The popular will, expressed through polls or even protests, is routinely sidelined. The political system, while maintaining the form of democracy with elections, has been functionally hollowed out. We are given the ritual of choice, but the power of decision rests elsewhere. So before we lecture others about lacking a say, we must confront the uncomfortable fact that for most Americans, the ability to meaningfully influence the direction of our own country has been systematically stripped away by wealth concentration. That's not the fault of a foreign regime. That's the result of choices made right here. Chapter 2. Hobson's choice. The two-party illusion. We often condemn China for its one-party system, viewing it as the epitome of non-democratic rule. We then look at ourselves, pride swelling in our chest, declaring we are better because we have two major parties. But are we really? When you look closely, our two-party system often amounts to little more than a Hobson's choice. A choice between two things that are fundamentally similar on core issues, or a choice where neither option truly represents your will. The reality for the vast majority of Americans is that our political desires are complex. We might want the fiscal responsibility championed by one side, but the social safety net advocated by the other. We might desire a blend of policies, a true centrist or multifaceted platform. Yet we are forced to choose between two prepackaged, heavily funded, and ideologically rigid offerings. It's like being offered a choice between a stale apple and a stale orange when what you really want is a fresh banana. Furthermore, any genuine third choice, any movement or candidate that dares to challenge the established duopoly is systematically starved of funding, media attention, and ballot access, and therefore stands almost no chance of winning. Consider the popularity of figures like Bernie Sanders. A man who mobilized millions, spoke to the deep economic anxieties of the working class, and yet, time and again was sidelined and ultimately prevented from reaching the highest office. This wasn't because of a popular mandate against him. It was the result of a political machine designed to enforce conformity and protect the interests of those who fund the establishment of both parties. When your choices are constrained by a structure that ensures only acceptable candidates succeed, the concept of a multi-party democracy becomes a cruel theatrical performance. Chapter 3. Corporate Control. The Plutocrats Regime. The same billionaires who fund and control the two political parties also hold the reins over our daily lives. They are the same corporate titans, hedge fund managers, and private equity giants who are the CEOs of the companies we work for or the absentee landlords of the land we farm. This is where the American system begins to feel truly authoritarian. In my grandfather's time, the family farm was just that, a family business. Today, many farms in America are not owned by the farmers who toil the land, but by large, abstract, and often publicly traded corporations. The actual farmer is reduced to a wage worker, an employee. Similarly, in the corporate world, decisions are made in exclusive boardrooms. Do we, the factory workers, the farmhands, or the mid-level managers, get to vote on and choose our CEO? Do we have a say when these corporations, owned by investors who readily buy and sell assets, decide to lay us off or ship our jobs overseas to chase lower wages? Absolutely not. When a decision is made, a layoff, a planned closure, a shift in corporate strategy that fundamentally affects your life, your home, your children's future, and it is done without your consultation, without your consent, and often without warning, how is that not an authoritarian regime? The decisions that matter most to the economic security of millions of Americans are made by a handful of unelected corporate oligarchs. We condemn China for its political structure, yet we willingly live under a corporate regime that is equally, if not more, unaccountable and authoritarian in its impact on our economic freedom. Chapter 4. Voting Rights. The truth about Chinese elections. For decades, the American narrative has been simple and absolute. Chinese people have no freedom, and most notably, they do not get to vote. This is a powerful American illusion, often amplified by a regime that benefits from maintaining this narrative of superior exceptionalism. The reality, as is often the case, is far more nuanced and complex. While it is true that China does not hold national, multi-party presidential elections in the Western style, to say the people do not get to vote is demonstrably false. As I've learned, the Chinese political system includes forms of direct elections, particularly at the grassroots level. Chinese citizens directly elect the members of their village committees in rural areas and the urban resident committees in cities. These committees are crucial for managing day-to-day community affairs, public security, and local mediation. More significantly, citizens also directly elect deputies to the people's congresses at the lowest levels, the county and township assemblies. These are massive elections involving hundreds of millions of voters. While the entire system operates under the ultimate leadership and supervision of the Chinese Communist Party, and there is certainly scrutiny of candidate nominations, this is a form of local bottom-up engagement that simply doesn't fit the simplistic propaganda we've been fed. It is a structure designed to provide local representation and administrative accountability to the people. Before we dismiss an entire population as having no vote, we need to acknowledge the reality of the votes they do cast. That distinction is a crucial detail that undercuts the narrative of unquestionable American political superiority. Chapter 5. American Exceptionalism Crumbles. From the time we were small children, we were taught one thing: America is exceptional. It is the shining city on a hill, the indispensable nation, the world leader in everything from freedom to innovation. But today, as I look around me, I've begun to seriously question this doctrine of American exceptionalism. The America I see today is often broken. Our political discourse is toxic and paralyzed. Our democracy, while still technically functional, often feels like a charade or a masquerade. We go through the motion of voting, but the outcome, regardless of the individual elected, consistently serves the same powerful corporate and donor interests. The elected officials who promise to serve the people invariably end up serving their biggest donors. This pattern has created a profound cynicism, an understanding that the system is rigged. Meanwhile, other nations, the ones we condescend to, are making rapid progress. Our health outcomes lag behind most developed nations. Our education system is struggling. Our political paralysis prevents us from addressing critical, long-term issues like climate change or healthcare costs. Exceptionalism is not a birthright. It is earned through progress and performance. When we compare our current condition, our infrastructure, our economic inequality, our political dysfunction to the dynamism and cohesion we see in rapidly ascending nations, the claim of American exceptionalism rings increasingly hollow. It's a comfortable, nostalgic story, but it's no longer the truth of our national experience. We are no longer universally exceptional. In many critical metrics, we are simply falling behind. Chapter 6. The Infrastructure Divide. To truly understand how far we've fallen, we need only look at our physical environment. The America of my grandfather's time was a nation on the move, a nation building the future. That was the era of monumental public works. The Hoover Dam, the Tennessee Valley Authority, the interstate highway system. Grandfather's generation invested heavily in hard infrastructure, creating the economic engine that powered the 20th century. Today, we are living in the time of crumbling infrastructure. Our dams are aging and unsafe. Our bridges are structurally deficient. Our airports are often third world compared to modern global hubs, and our rail systems are an embarrassing joke. Political gridlock and short-term thinking have ensured that no new infrastructure project of any significant nation-building scope has been completed in decades. We can't even agree on how to fill a pothole, let alone build a bullet train. Now look across the fence. Look at China. They have accomplished an infrastructure miracle in a fraction of the time. They have built the largest high-speed rail network in the world, constructed massive new airports and deep water ports, and executed dizzying, ambitious projects like the world's largest dams and bridge networks. They are solving problems of logistics and capacity spectacularly. While we argue over budgets and permits, they are building the 21st century. Their physical progress is a tangible, visible sign of a system focused on long-term national development, a focus that we have clearly lost. The contrast couldn't be starker. Their future is being built. Ours is falling apart. Chapter 7. GDP versus lived reality. The inequality trap. We often puff out our chests and proudly proclaim that America has the largest economy in the world. It's a powerful statistic meant to assure us of our continued global dominance. But the reality is far more complex and far less reassuring. More importantly, who benefits from the GDP? What good is being the largest economy in the world when the vast majority of that wealth is concentrated in the hands of a mere dozen ultra-billionaires? This staggering inequality is the core of the American sickness. The rest of us are left struggling. We are the majority living paycheck to paycheck, perpetually worried about losing our job, defaulting on the mortgage, or being unable to afford basic necessities. For the average Chinese person, their experience is one of dramatic upward mobility. They are lifting themselves out of poverty at an unprecedented rate and entering a growing middle class. For the average American, the experience is one of precarity. An unforeseen medical bill, a car accident, or an unexpected layoff is often enough to trigger personal bankruptcy. The GDP might be high, but the median lived experience is one of crippling financial vulnerability. Economic prosperity that only benefits the top 1% is not a national achievement. It's a national failure. Chapter 8. An inversion of eras. This is the ultimate sobering realization. We have inverted our eras. The America of my grandfather's time, a time of massive public works, infrastructure investment, social mobility, and confidence in the future, is the experience that China is living right now. They are in their golden age of nation-building, rapid development, and societal ascent. Their people feel a sense of direction and progress. And where are we? We are living in the equivalent of China during their grandfather's time. A time of stagnation, crumbling roads, massive internal inequality, and a political system that feels distant, disconnected, and controlled by forces beyond the reach of the average person. We are consumed by short-term political squabbles and the preservation of entrenched wealth, while our long-term national health deteriorates. We have spent too long condescending on China. We've used them as a simplistic foil to make ourselves feel superior, ignoring the decay in our own backyard. But the time for moral posturing is over. The challenge now is to stop holding up our flawed system as the undisputed gold standard and start acknowledging that other models, other ways of governance are producing tangible, positive results for their people. We don't need to adopt their system, but we absolutely need to start learning from them. We need to learn how to build again, how to cooperate on national goals, and how to structure an economy that serves the many, not just the few. Our current path is unsustainable. Their progress is a loud, undeniable wake-up call. Conclusion: The great American story is not over, but the chapter on unquestioned superiority is closed. The truth is the very authoritarian traits and political deficiencies we instinctively condemn in China, the lack of influence, the rule by elite interests, the overwhelming power of money, have in a more subtle and insidious form become the defining characteristics of American life today. We have traded political authoritarianism for economic authoritarianism, where a CEO's decision is often more final and consequential than a governor's vote. When we look at China, we are not looking at a fundamentally alien world. We are looking at a mirror reflecting back our own potential future if we continue down this path of inequality and decay. We see a nation successfully tackling massive problems while our own political system seems paralyzed by petty division. This isn't about choosing a side. It's about choosing a future. It's about recognizing the China within American life, the parts of our system that are undemocratic, unrepresentative, and ultimately, deeply un-American in spirit. The path forward is not found in condemnation, but in honest self-assessment. We must reclaim our democracy from the plutocrats, restore the power of the vote that truly matters, and return to the age of national ambition and building that once defined this great nation. We need to stop living in our past glory and start building a future worthy of American exceptionalism again. The challenge is immense, but the alternative, a slow, managed decline, is unthinkable. I am Rufus Brown. These are my thoughts on the China within American life. Now I want to hear yours. Do you agree with this diagnosis? Have we allowed a corporate plutocracy to usurp the promise of our democracy? Do share your thoughts with me in the comments below. I will personally read every single comment, and I look forward to engaging with some of you on this vital topic. If this thesis resonated with you, if it made you stop and think, please don't forget to give this video a like. That small action helps the channel grow, ensures this discussion reaches more people, and allows me to share more of my thoughts with you. And if you haven't already, subscribe to The Last Thing Before Sleeping. Sleep tight and good night.